I must be out of my mind because after doing more math calculations and this time focusing on a main DPS Shorekeeper build, I've discovered that the Shorekeeper has a huge potential of being a main DPS with damage that nukes the competition. So in this video, that's what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna look into this. Let's roll that intro. Let's go! Yo! How is everyone? Hello everyone! Kamusta sa inyong lahat mga kapitbahay at mga kababayan, mga kaibigan? Welcome to another video, and this is part of my Shorekeeper calculation series, I guess. And yeah, I did the math again, and this time focusing on a main DPS build, Shorekeeper, because some of the comments that I'm getting kind of suggest that maybe she is actually a great main DPS with new capabilities. So to those people who have been showing their computations, their calculations, and have been explaining or commenting, helping out the community with advice with regards to a main DPS Shorekeeper, thank you so much, guys. You guys are really appreciated, and there are so many of you guys that have been asking about this as well. So thank you so much for helping out or suggesting this topic. So after careful and thorough calculations, and to be honest with you guys, like, this is driving me insane because damage calculations is something that I'm kind of hesitant in doing because of the depth of calculations needed. A lot of factors have to be considered in order to come up with a good calculations. But let me tell you that like, I'm not a mathematician. But I tried the best that I can based on what explanations are out there with regards to calculations, especially with crit. And after doing the math, okay, I must say, like, I think Kuro is trolling us, guys. Like, I think we are being trolled by Kuro. Now, the idea behind the Shorekeeper is that she will replace Marina as our healing bot, okay? But right now, looking at the damage calculations for the Shorekeeper, I'm thinking, okay, wait, it's that huge, that big? That can't be right. So this character, okay, if these calculations are correct, then this character, the Shorekeeper, is not only designed to be a healer, but she also has a huge potential of being a carry type of character, or even a sub DPS who just friggin' nukes, right? And the nuke is significant after doing after piling up, for example, like spectral damage bonus and crit damage. She just nukes, and she nukes hard, okay? So ever since I started doing this calculation yesterday, I think yesterday afternoon, when I started doing the math, preparing the Excel spreadsheet, and at work I was continuing that a little bit, just like punching in numbers and scenarios here and there. I'm left speechless. I've been posting like since yesterday about this. Like, am I doing this right? Are these calculations correct? Because honestly, they're just simply out of this world. And especially when you look at her discernment, her intro skill discernment, I'm like, what? Imagine like having a C6 Shorekeeper with 700% plus crit damage. It's simply unbelievable, insane damage. So if she can deal this much damage, why do we wanna keep her in a support role, right? So anyways, to cut the long story short, let's do the disclaimers. First, I'm not a math guru, so there's a possibility that the computation may not be correct, may not be perfect. I tried my best. Also, thank you so much for the help on the with regards to the crit damage calculations. Yeah, shout out to Gleb Sheg Love 9291. Okay, I'm sorry if I murdered your name, but thank you so much for helping out with the crit damage calculations. Note that the Shorekeeper is not, I believe it's not a finished product yet, so it's possible that there could be last minute changes. Just in case, please do take the info here with a grain of salt. Lastly, we will try to avoid revealing her kit as much as possible. I know, we might be able to discuss it just a little bit, but, like we'll try to limit or tone it down out of respect to Kuro Games. On that note, here is the build. This Shorekeeper will be using the 5-piece Celestial Light with the Morning Ikes as the main 4-cost echo. Weapon, it's gonna be the Augment R1 with attack and crit rate substat. Note that you can also use Variation R1 for the ER percent substat, or her best in style weapon, since that is overall her best weapon in the game right now. Note that Augment is a Battle Pass weapon, okay? And there are other viable options. You can use like attack percent substat weapons or ER percent, okay, for 4 stars. But for this particular build, I'm going to go with Augment R1. Now, for cost, I put in crit rate percent and attack. You could also use crit damage percent depending on how, if you don't want crit rate, fine, you could use crit damage. And that will just increase further her what do you call this, intro skill damage. Now for the 3 cost, you have 2 spectral damage and fat attack, and then 1 cost is gonna be the attack percent and HP, and that's 2. Stat wise, we are at level 90 with talent levels of 10 everywhere. Okay, everything is 10. Let's theoretically use that. Attack at S0 is at 1587, S2 at 2007, and S6 is 2449. Now, spectral damage. The base will be at 70%. This will include the Sonata effect plus the 3 cost echoes. It goes up to 112% when you include the intro buff and the Morning Ikes buff. And then it will go up to 124% with Liberation spectral damage buffs. As for HP, we are looking at 23,278. Healing bonus is at 12%, and that's from the unlocked talent. And then at S4, like I said, it will go up to 70%. But for the purpose of this calculation, we are just going to use a 12% unlock. Since for healing, I'm just going to go for like a baseline number. As for ER percent, we're looking at 160%. And crit damage, 194% at S0, 210% with Liberation, and 710% with S6 with the Liberation. Based on those stats, in terms of healing, the R skill will give us 3,027 at S0 and 4,920 at S2. In terms of the Liberation healing, we're looking at 11,137 at S0 and 18,097 at S2. Finally, crit buffs. The total crit rate we're gonna get here is 8% and 16% for crit damage. So despite building her as a main DPS, for example, or even a sub DPS, I think healing wise and buff wise, these numbers are okay. These are not bad at all, given that we've given everything into spectral damage bonus and attack, right? So this is good. This is still good. How many characters do we have that has over 20,000 HP when you think about it? So 11,137 at S0 is fine by me. Now for the Vee Dizzy stones. Here are the Shorekeepers main DPS damage numbers. Now, feel free to pause just to look at these figures. I'm not gonna explain everything in detail. Obviously, it's very, very, very difficult to do that. But as you can see, these are pretty decent numbers at S0 and at the S2 or S6. But the most important damage that we want to really look at is the intro skill damage. At S0, we're looking at 25,773 for enlightenment and 187,718 for discernment. When it crits, it's gonna go up to 54,123 and 39,4,208 respectively. If you unlock S2, enlightenment will change a little bit. Discernment will still be the same, but enlightenment will go up slightly to 32,600 and with a crit of 68,461. Finally, at S6, if you've unlocked S6, okay, enlightenment will go to 39,769 with a crit of 83,515. As for discernment at S6, we're looking at 272,192 without crit, and with crit, it's 1,889. Okay, 1,889 and 9. These are really good numbers. So for myself, I'm looking only at S0 because that's, I can't afford to go S6. So if she does crit at 394,000, I'm gonna be quite happy even if she just steals half that. So these are really good numbers coming from the Shorekeeper. So now it makes you think, or at least me, it makes me think, yeah, do I really need that much crit buffs and healing? If my Shorekeeper could deal huge amounts of damage every like 30 seconds or so, right? And it's not like it's difficult to proc this, because based on my understanding, all I have to do is first cast the Liberation, then cast my Morning Ikes, swap out, swap back in so that I can cast my intro Discernment, and I get all the buffs, healing, and the huge damage numbers. Do note that these calculations account for all the possible buffs that is associated with her and her echoes, right? And her Sonata. I did not account for Verina's buff as well as for Sheshi's buff. In terms of healing, I think she will still deal more heals compared to my half-baked Baishi at the moment, which I use in the Tower of Adversity. And, I managed to survive all the way to the final part of it. So, numbers for the healing is okay with me. But, what about you guys? What do you think about this new information? And do you still want to build your Shorekeeper as a healer, or are you also considering building her as a DPS? Because me right now, I'm kind of conflicted about this. And if I'm going to build her as a DPS, then definitely I will put Verina and Sheshi in that team comp. So anyways, let me know. Leave it in the comments. And as always, if you find this helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any future contents. On that note, thank you so much for watching, and paalam po sa inyong lahat. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!